Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of Allegheny County Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Please be seated. Jared, please take roll.
Ms. Bennett.
Here.
Mr. Betkowski. Here. Mr. DeMarco. Here. Mr. Dewar. Ms. Filiaggi. Here. Mr. Fatulis. Here. Ms. Hallam.
Here.
Mr. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Macy.
Here.
Ms. Nacarati-Chapkus.
Here.
Mr. Palmieri. Here. Mr. Palmasina.
Here.
Ms. Pritzio. Ms. Pritzio, you're with us?
Maybe someone.
Mr. Walton.
Here.
President Katina.
Here.
For the moment, we have 13 members present.
Councilman Walton?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we amend tonight's agenda to include an item under new business to address the issue of staffing of 3 new hires for council.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. No discussion, just take the vote.
Roll call. On the motion to amend the agenda, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Betkowski.
Yes.
Mr. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Dewar.
Yes.
Ms. Filiaggi.
Yes.
Mr. Fatulis.
Yeah.
Ms. Hallam.
Yes.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Macy.
Yes.
Ms. Nacarati-Chapkus.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes.
Mr. Palmasina.
Yes.
Ms. Pritzio.
Yes.
Mr. Walton.
Yes.
President Katina.
Yes.
Ayes 15, no 0. The motion passes.
Proclamations and certificates 12445-22.
I apologize. Was there going to be another motion after the amendment?
Okay. Go ahead.
I apologize. Just for a point of clarification, was there going to be another motion after the agenda was amended, or was that it?
No, that was it.
That was it for the moment. Okay.
Is that it?
12445-445-2, proclamation congratulating and honoring Gail Schrott on the occasion of her retirement from Global Pittsburgh, sponsored by Council Members Dennis and Pritzio.
I had to pause there. Didn't know what was happening for a moment. But we are here to celebrate Ms. Gail Schrott and to give her her roses as she retires as the Executive Director of Global Pittsburgh. So Allegheny County Office of County Council proclamation honoring Gail Schrott on her career at Global Pittsburgh. Whereas after more than 30 years helping welcome a changing world to Pittsburgh, Gail Schrott will retire as Executive Director of Global Pittsburgh. And whereas Global Pittsburgh, formerly Pittsburgh Council for International Visitors, is a nonprofit organization aimed to connect local people and organizations to the world through professional exchanges, member activities, and hosting opportunities. And whereas Ms. Schrott was originally from Freehold, New Jersey, she obtained a degree in art history from the University of Delaware before earning a certificate in museum studies and a master's degree in American culture from the University of Michigan in 1982. And whereas Ms. Schrott began working in Delaware but then moved to Pittsburgh for better opportunities, finding opportunity at the Mattress Factory in 1986, where I still have not visited that place. I need to go. Whereas during a seminar in 1989, Ms. Schrott was asked to speak about international visitors' experiences with museums at a seminar hosted by Global Pittsburgh's predecessor. 2 months later, the organization called to hire Ms. Schrott. In her early days at Global Pittsburgh, Ms. Schrott worked on a project teaching Russians business skills by placing them with a host family and matching them with local companies. And whereas in 1990, 1995, Ms. Schrott was elevated to executive director, the same position she will retire from at the end of this year. Some of her most satisfying moments over the last 30 years include working on the G20 when hosted in Pittsburgh, and working with some of the first groups that were invited to Pittsburgh from Afghanistan. And whereas Ms. Schrott recognizes that Pittsburgh and the world look much different today than the day she started with Global Pittsburgh, she has enjoyed playing a role in connecting Pittsburgh to the world through impactful exchange programming. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Allegheny County Council members Liv Bennett and Anita Prezio, do hereby honor and congratulate Gail Schrott on the occasion of her retirement after over 30 years of a successful career at Global Pittsburgh. This council wishes her much health and happiness and rest in her retirement. In witness hereof, I have hereunto caused the seal of County of Allegheny to be affixed this 30th day of August 2022. Thank you so much for your work for the last 30 years, Ms. Schrott, and please enjoy your retirement. And
Thank you.
Councilwoman Prezio is not here this evening. She could not make it, but I wanted to extend the opportunity and see if she had any remarks this evening for Ms. Schrott, as she is a co-sponsor to this proclamation. Ms. Prezio, do you have anything to add? Is she there?
No, just thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. And do you have anything you would like to say?
Thank you so much. I'm really touched to receive this honor. It has been one of the most gratifying opportunities to work for Global Pittsburgh. I have worked with amazing people from our region, and I continue to work with them now. We're still programming actively, and I'm sure that our Global Pittsburgh will continue to work with you, and hopefully some of you will meet with visitors for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A proclamation recognizing and honoring the Children's Institute on the occasion of its 120th anniversary, helping children, sponsored by Councilmember Macy and all other members of council.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce Wendy Pardee and also Jessica Monahan. This is Wendy. All right. Now, normally, I look at proclamations, 25-year, 30-year, 50-year, 120 years. Can you imagine? 120 years of serving one of our most vulnerable groups of people, and that's children. We can see what's happening in our borders. We can see what's happening around the world to our most vulnerable people, and that is our children. Whereas this year, the Children's Institute of Pittsburgh is celebrating 120 years of helping thousands of amazing kids. What started in 1902 by Mary Irwin Laughlin to care for a 6-year-old boy who lost his legs in a train accident has become a leader, a provider of the highest quality care and services to thousands of amazing kids and their families. Whereas the Children's Institute has evolved into an organization that provides a range of high-level outpatient, rehabilitative, and behavioral health therapies, as well as family, social, educational, and care coordination services. And whereas the Children's Institute and its team members have been involved in monumental changes to the care and services provided to those in need. Some of these services include the staff and children take part in the Dr. Jonas Salk's new polio vaccine in 1955. The Children's Institute became the first comprehensive rehabilitative center for children to be accredited by the Commission on Accreditation and Rehabilitation Facilities, Dynavox, an argumentative communications device was placed on the market with help of the staff in 1991. In 2002, JimBop, a conceptual model integrating the educational specialties of music and adaptive physical education, was developed. And in 2004, Family Support Services, formerly known as Project STAR, a reflex neurovascular dystrophy program, was created. And whereas the Children's Institute seeks to be a lifelong partner to individuals with a disability and their families, and to continue to reach more individuals with more services. They provide services revolving around autism, educational, behavioral, health, family support, early intervention, and physical health, in person and via telehealth. And whereas the Children's Institute continues to bring the best care and services they can to children in order to achieve their core values of compassion, integrity, excellence, innovation, teamwork, and collaboration and fun. The Children's Institute has over 400 team members and over 50 volunteers. Go volunteers, helping more than 6,000 children. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Allegheny County Council, and all of County Council, do hereby honor and congratulate the Children's Institute on 120 years of helping thousands and thousands of amazing kids and families. Congratulations. Say a few words.
Honestly, on behalf of our team, we are honored and humbled to do the work of supporting kids and families across this region. We are blessed to be supported by the community, and we are truly grateful that you recognize the work that we have done. So thank you so very much.
Council Member Macy, may I say, just as a former employee of the Children's Institute, I just want to attest that amazing kids and amazing staff are under each roof in each facility that you have. And amazing learning and amazing healing happens every single day. And I'm very, very appreciative for all the work that you do. Thank you.
And I might add that I'm a neighbor of the Children's Institute. I live right around the corner, and it's it's always been a community asset. And I can remember from when I was a wee lad that back in the day it was called the Home for Crippled Children, and it has changed dramatically over the years, and it's a wonderful facility. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you'll join me. Come on.
Since I was down there, come on.
And there is you. You got that straight.
Let this we land.
You okay?
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three.
Okay, now the remaining proclamations will be read into the record. 12446-22.
A proclamation welcoming the Global Clean Energy Action Forum hosted by the U.S. Department of Energy and Carnegie Mellon University to Pittsburgh, sponsored by Councilmember Pritzio. A proclamation recognizing the 20th anniversary of Kennywood Park's Phantom Fall Fest, sponsored by Councilmember Macy. A proclamation recognizing and honoring Bishop Ketlin Solak as the first black female to become bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Pittsburgh, sponsored by Councilmember Walton. Not on agenda items now. We have none. Approving the appointment of Timothy Sandstrom to the Friends of the Park for Boyce Park for a term to expire on September 20th, 2025, sponsored by Councilmember Nakaradi Chapkus. None. An ordinance of the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, repealing Chapter 475, Article 5, entitled Senior Citizen Relief of the Allegheny County Code of Ordinances, and amending Chapter 475, Article 6, entitled Property Tax Relief Program, Section 475-40, to expand the definition of eligible taxpayer to include certain trusts and expand the definition of longtime owner-occupant to include a property owner who has owned and occupied any dwelling place within Allegheny County as a principal residence and domicile for at least 10 consecutive years, amending Chapter 475, Article 6, Section 475-41B, to limit the real estate tax discount that may be received by an eligible taxpayer to $650, and amending Chapter 475, Article 6, Section 475-42, to state that applications are to be submitted to the Office of the Treasurer and to provide for County Council to increase the maximum household income of an eligible taxpayer by resolution if the same is raised by the law of this Commonwealth, sponsored by President Katina, the County Treasurer, and Councilmember Macy. An ordinance of the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Section 5207.08 of the Administrative Code of Allegheny County to extend the time period for the filing of real property tax assessment appeals in Allegheny County for tax year 2022 only until November 30th, 2022, sponsored by Councilmembers Walton and Macy. An ordinance of the Council of the County of Allegheny ratifying amendments to the Allegheny County Health Department's Rules and Regulations, Article 15, Plumbing and Building Drainage, sponsored by the Chief Executive. An ordinance of the Council of the County of Allegheny ratifying amendments that revise Part G methods, including Sections 2107.01 through 2107.20 and other related sections of the Allegheny County Health Department Rules and Regulations, Article 21, Air Pollution Control, sponsored by the Chief Executive. An ordinance of the Council of the County of Allegheny ratifying amendments that revise Section 2105.21, coke ovens and coke oven gas, Section 2109.01, inspections, and Section 2101.20, definitions of the Allegheny County Health Department Rules and Regulations, Article 21, Air Pollution Control, sponsored by the Chief Executive. An ordinance of the Council of the County of Allegheny ratifying an amendment that adds Section 2105.08, additional RACT requirements for major sources of nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds for the 2015 ozone NAAQS to the Allegheny County Health Department Rules and Regulations, Article 21, Air Pollution Control, sponsored by the Chief Executive. A resolution of the County of Allegheny amending the grants and special accounts budget for 2022, submission number 04-22, sponsored by the Chief Executive.
President, that the council moves forward with a recommendation from the executive committee that hasn't been brought to council, but that we hire 3 staffers that have been approved by the executive committee, and with the positive recommendation that we hired.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I chaired this committee for, seemed like forever, and I just want to thank the committee members and everyone for cooperating and getting this done today. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Howell?
Yeah, I just want to go on the record saying that I think, and nothing personal against any of the people that have been interviewed or that we're hiring, I just think it's a complete waste of resources, of taxpayer dollars to hire additional staff members. I would wonder, because I asked our staff for a lot, and never have I been told, oh, we can't do that, we're too busy, or no, we don't have the capacity to do that. They've always been able to help me with everything I've asked for. So I'm just wondering if there's any council members who have asked our staff for something and thought, oh, they didn't have enough time, we need to hire more people and spend more money. Because I think we have a great team right now, and I can't think of a single time, again, where I thought, hey, I need more staff on council because the current staff cannot handle the things we're tasking them to do. And so if anybody on this council wants to speak to that, speak to a time that they were told by a staff member, I don't have the time, we need more staff, we're short-staffed. It's one thing to replace somebody that we lost, but it's another thing to add even additional staff members when I just don't see the need is there. And when we're always talking about how do we fund the things that we care about, there's not enough money. I know that is a nonsense excuse, but yet here we are pouring tons of money into staff that I just do not see the need for. So I'm going to be voting no. It is not against any of the candidates individually. It's because I do not see a need for additional staff. If we want to talk about the structuring of the current staff, I am down for that conversation. But as far as adding additional people to the staff that I don't feel is needed, I'm a hard no on that. So,
Mr. With all due respect to my fellow council members, this issue has been discussed thoroughly and on multiple occasions, and all of the council agreed that we needed to replace individuals that we've lost over the past year and past several years. So while I respect my colleague for having her opinion and wanting to stage her objection, she's entitled to. But that's a decision that all of council has discussed on multiple occasions, and as a result, we do what we agreed to do. Thank you.
Councilwoman Howell?
yeah, just for the record, not all of council has discussed and agreed to this. The executive committee, which is a segment of this council, has discussed and agreed to this. Not all members of council, so please don't misinterpret our position on things as a whole.
I'm going to go to Councilman Futulis, and then you have something, I'll go back to you. Councilman Futulis?
Okay, well, as a matter of record, we actually lost 4 employees in the last, I believe, 5 years. Trying to replace some of them, you know, you can make that argument. Do we really need them? I'd say the answer is probably. Members of council definitely want to get new staff. We've lost our social media. I don't see that. Constituent service may be a little bit lacking. We need somebody to answer the phones, an administrative assistant. We need people to help in the budget department. We don't have anyone. We don't have anybody helping the legislative director, manager. We have no assistant. It's in our budget, and we're well above our budget as far as employees, and I don't think it's a bad thing to hire people. Thank you.
Councilor Walton, anything to add, or you go?
All right, at this point in time, my motion is made and seconded. Sheriff, please take a roll call vote.
On the motion to approve, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Betkowski. Mr. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Dewar.
Yes.
Ms. Filiaggi.
Yes.
Mr. Fatulis.
Yes.
Ms. Hallam.
No.
Mr. Klein.
Yes.
Mr. Macy.
Yes.
Ms. Nacarati Chapkus.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yes.
Mr. Palmasina.
Yes.
Ms. Pritzio.
Yes.
Mr. Walton.
Yes.
President Katina.
Yes.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The motion passes.
Any notification of contracts?
Nope.
Public comment on general items?
We actually do have 4 individuals signed up, the first of whom is Jacqueline Cavalier.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Cavalier, and I'm a professor of history at CCAC at the Allegheny campus on the north side. In addition, I am the vice president for the AFT for Allegheny campus. I live in District 12, which is your district, Mr. Palmasina. As a resident of the city of Pittsburgh, I prefer to support my local businesses, the local establishments, especially those that give back to the community. As my husband and I ate dinner the other night at one of our local favorite establishments, I was talking to him about coming to the meeting today. The server overheard our conversation, and she said, "My son attends CCAC right now. He's in nursing. He loves it." After she said that, another patron overheard and spoke up and said, "I went there myself when I lost my job." These stories are not unusual. In fact, I could have polled the patrons there and come up with many more stories to share with you today. Because 87% of our graduates live and work in the region, and CCAC returns $2.50 for every dollar Allegheny County invests in the college. Since 2000, CCAC has served over 600,000 students. 468,103 of those students were Allegheny County residents, and they live in your districts. That's 46% of county residents 18 years of age and older, which means they are old enough to vote, by the way. During the 2019-2020 fiscal year, CCAC had a $1.3 billion, that's billion with a B, dollar impact on the region's economy, supporting the equivalent of 15,705 jobs. That is 1 in every 57 jobs in the region. As members of County Council are aware, the Community College Act passed in Pennsylvania in 1963, and CCAC was founded in 1966. In Pennsylvania, Article 19.8A of the Public School Code committed that the Commonwealth would provide 1/3 of the operating costs of approved community colleges. Local sponsors, meaning Allegheny County in our case, would provide 1/3, and student tuition was prohibited from exceeding 1/3 of total college operating costs. And yet our students at CCAC are currently bearing the brunt of the burden at 40% of the costs between tuition and student fees that are added. What I am asking for you all here today is to do for CCAC the same thing that we do for the businesses and local establishments that give back to the community in your districts. We support them financially as much as we can, and except in this case, CCAC is certainly one of the...
If you could wrap it up, please.
One of the most valuable resources of the region, and so I ask you to please consider the increase in funding for CCAC when it comes time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Stephen Bannister.
If you join that fire, that's progressive. Books, angry.
Use one more level here. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Bannister. I'm a professor of physical therapy at the Community College of Allegheny County, Boys Campus, and I'm on my 34th year. I live in East McKeesport and in Monroe. I live in East McKeesport and I work in Monroeville. So this is the District 8 for Representative Michelle Nacarati Chapkus. Did I get it right? All right. As Professor Cavalier stated, CCAC is an exceptional value for the students, but CCAC is also an exceptional value for Allegheny County, especially in the area of allied health. CCAC is one of the nation's leading producers of graduates with associate degrees in the health professions. CCAC offers over 27 Associate of Science certificate programs in the health careers. And then let me show you some of the information from my program, the Physical Therapist Assistant Program. We have an 87% graduation rate of all the people that enter. Our national exam scores average over the last few years 100%. Our graduate employment rate is currently 100%. Our graduates receive jobs that are in demand and they pay well. Approximately 9 out of 10 graduates live and work in the region and in all of your districts. Although the cost of my program is a bargain at only about $10,500, the cost burden upon my students has increased markedly over the past few years. Approximately 50% of our students arrive with college debt from other institutions, having maxed their financial aid, and find CCAC as their last hope to find a career that has a good paying job. These graduates serve the community by providing the health care needs of the citizens of Allegheny County. Over 20% of Allegheny County's over 1.25 million residents are over the age of 65, and they are the largest consumer of allied health. Professionals other than physicians deliver greater than 75% of all health care. On the CCAC website, we say the following. At CCAC, you can prepare for one of several health-related careers in the classroom and in our state-of-the-science lab and clinical facilities. Providing these services requires state-of-the-art labs, furnished with the latest equipment, and faculty who are trained professionals as well as educators. I'm sure you can see and agree that CCAC is an incredible asset to Allegheny County. Finally, I hope you will consider each increased funding for the college so that we can continue to serve the needs of the region and specifically the most vulnerable populations of the sick and the elderly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Helena Little.
He's very tall. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Helena Little, and I live in the borough of Oakmont. And I work at CCAC as an academic advisor, an Achieving the Dream facilitator, and the AFT Local 2067 president. I'm here to speak about CCAC's role in supporting the community. Community college students have always needed more support than students who traditionally attend four-year colleges. That is why CCAC exists, to provide opportunities for non-traditional or underserved students, to help the people of Allegheny County to gain life-sustaining wage or afford a four-year degree that would otherwise be out of their reach. To speak directly to Councilperson Walton's district, for example, CCAC's Homewood Brushton Center has been at the center of a historically Black and underserved Pittsburgh community for many years. And it has been my privilege to teach and advise there, and I have assisted many HBC students with setting the stage for their success. After recent events, however, CCAC students at all of our campuses and centers need so much additional support. Our already underserved students now carry burdens compounded by growing mental health needs, long COVID, inflation, and the effects of social unrest, to name just a few things that have happened in recent years. And now, CCAC students who were not historically defined as at risk are struggling due to these same issues. As an advisor, I work with students every day who desperately want to succeed, but who are having difficulty negotiating their new normal. We do our best to help each of these students, but we often cannot do enough. CCAC's ability to serve our students is so tied to enrollment dollars that we simply don't have the resources to support students' growing needs in the face of the current local and national enrollment crisis. CCAC requires additional funding from Allegheny County so that we can continue to provide our students with pathways to a better life, and I hope you will all vote for increased funding for our college this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last up is Don Breitbarth.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Breitbarth, and I'm an academic advisor at the Allegheny campus of CCAC. I live in Mr. Klein's District 11, along with 1,305 CCAC students, and it's my job to hit cleanup today and provide you with a brief summary of what we've heard so far. As Professor Little stated, CCAC strives to be an equitable educational opportunity regardless of age, socioeconomic status, heritage, physical ability, or previous academic experience. CCAC also serves one of the largest veteran populations in the state. As Professor Cavalier stated, CCAC is an exceptional value for students. In-county residents pay only $122 per credit hour. Students living in Allegheny County can save $24,000 over public universities and $68,000 over private colleges by spending their first 2 years at CCAC. As Professor Bannister said, CCAC has outstanding career and workforce programs. In fact, CCAC has 32 career and technical programs with a 90% or better placement rate in the first 6 months after graduation. But career and workforce programs are very expensive. Science and lab instruments are costly and challenging to maintain. Due to budget constraints, CCAC does not maintain service agreements on this equipment. Career and workforce programs are heavily dependent on grant funding. CCAC is also an exceptional value for its funders and returns $2.50 for every dollar Allegheny County invests in the college. As Dr. Cavalier stated, during 2019 and 20, CCAC had a $1.3 billion impact on the region's economy, and since 2000, CCAC has served over 468,000 Allegheny County residents. During that time, however, funding from Allegheny County has remained flat, placing an even greater financial burden on our students and their parents, your constituents. CCAC cannot continue to meet the needs of the region with reduced budgets and flat funding because it forces our administration to balance the budget by cutting. For example, since 2020, the college has let go 52 SEIU staff members. Our supportive services are also understaffed, and we currently have only 1 student success coach, down from 9. This is not sustainable. In conclusion, as Professor Cavalier stated, the Community College Act of 1963 says student tuition should never exceed 33%. However,
thank you. Can you wrap it up?
In closing, the projected 2023 budget for CCAC will show students and their parents paying 40% of the operating expenses, while Allegheny County, our sponsor, pays only 21%. That's not fair, and we're asking you to make it right. It's time for Allegheny County to step up and properly support CCAC and its students. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Have a nice night.